there's no such a thing as future leaders. If you're not leading now, what are you doing? Because I'll tell you something. Leadership will not just come because you are given a position. No. It's supposed to be built in you, and you grow with it from one level to another. If you are driving, if you have a car, from the onset, you don't start driving at 120. No. You start at 20 because you're still scared. And sometimes how you reach to drive at 120, you not even know. Because your body begins to get used to, okay, driving what, 20, 25, okay, 30, 40, 80. You are growing into it. Now, when you are doing what you are born to do, like I said earlier, it's a fight. And my grandmother used to put it in this way. Say, my grandson, if you are ever going to help anyone, don't help anyone in giving them food. Because when they get satisfied, they'll really forget it. But help someone who is in a fight. Either a fight of their own life or a fight of their own purpose. Because when you help them from doing that, they'll be grateful to you because you saved them. And she used to put it in this way. I'm very passionate Tonga, though people really think I don't speak Tonga. I'll not mention names though. Yeah. But she used to put it in this way. Hunasiru mamba. Kambo sinzala utunda jibi. Should mean when someone is given food, after they are satisfied, they'll forget it. Believe me. Yes. Some of you don't remember those days when you are really hungry. Like you thought you are not going to make it. And then all of a sudden you ate something and like, okay, what was that? But when you are on the edge of dying, and then someone saves you, every day you wake up and say, I'm alive. That guy. Yeah. Oh, I almost married, by the way. I was walking in town one day. Yeah, I almost got married. Yeah. I was walking in town one day. Wow. And I was going the other side there, so that about 3 ladies were coming the other side. So apparently it was around 19, coming from one of these busy schedules, meeting this one, and because I'm not driving, so I had to walk. So there was a car that was coming the other side. So the ladies were going this side and this car was turning, so they were going like that. And the guy didn't stop. So he was coming and I was passing like that. So I was almost dissecting with the girls were going that side, I was going this side. The car was coming this side and it was turning. It was should be a Toyota Hilux. So one of the ladies stepped on the road and the car was just coming. And I just pulled her off. And the car just passed, it didn't even stop. And they stopped to wonder, say, who's that guy who saved my life? I didn't stop. Because I knew if I stopped, I was going to definitely get married. Because she was going to be ever grateful that that guy saved my life. Well, they stopped to talk. Really, he just saved your life, and I kept on walking. Because I know the principle anyway. So what I'm talking about is fight in life, fight. And if you can help anyone, help someone who is also fighting. If you can marry someone who is also fighting. If you can ever be employed in any company, go to a company that is fighting, a company that wants to progress, a company that says, we need to do this. Be at a place that keeps you in a state of advancement. Yes. Fight. There's no better way to put it. Fight and fight, because at the end of the day, what is going to be judged of us are not the words that we said, but are the acts that we did. Biblically or non-biblically, works define everything. In my new upcoming book entitled To My Future Wife, I talk about things like the intentions which are easily understood are intentions which are acted. Only intentions which are acted can be easily understood. Let me predicate this. I have had a very unfair share of talking to both males and females on issues to do with marriage, relationships, and all those things. And one of the things that people say is that if they lose, they like the girl, but they just didn't tell her properly. And then she ends up getting some guy who they even considered, well, he couldn't even win her. He couldn't even, get a high from her. But somehow this guy got her. Not just the high, but her, the whole her. So what I'm speaking in this sense is, the other one had intentions in the heart. I like this girl. He had intentions quite right. Girls, even if you have intentions and she knows it, she'll wait for you to say. Yeah? And sometimes she'll say no to see how serious you are. Because if you believe this thing is really good, you're not going to give up when you fail the first time. You're not going to give up when you fail the second time. You're not going to give up when you fail the third time. The only time that you're going to give up is if you succeed. And then you haven't given up because you have succeeded. And I know guys that would go 2 years pursuing a lady until she says yes. And then how can you tell me that business is difficult to run? How can you tell me if you fall emba, if you go to how can someone dedicate 4 years just to receive the yes from a lady? How? And then says, business is tough. You have to develop the fighting spirit. Fight. As a young person, fight, because it is not in the age. It is the size of the battle within you.
Exactly.
Fight. If you are at school, I used to tell myself, say, well, if there are 10 people, sometimes you start from big numbers, say, if there are 10 people that are going to get 7 points, I should be among them. At least 10. After you've counted, you have 4 classes, and maybe at least from each class, at least my guys were tatu, or at least babiri bakuchila. Say, okay, if 10, I think I'm among the 10. But sometimes I used to narrow it down, say, if there are 5, I'll be among them. If there are 3, I'll be among them. If there's only going to be 1, then that 1 is me. I mean, sometimes you may believe like that and it may never come true. But that doesn't stop you from believing. Believe and fight. Intend and act. Life doesn't begin any later than it is already happening. I will be sad if you are called to give an account and they say, the reason why I didn't do what I was supposed to do was because I only lived for 20 years. I'll tell you, without sounding sarcastic, I've gone to some very shanty places. A child at 3 years can insult. I mean, who taught you to insult? 3 years. So it means somehow there's a system that educates people. Are we together? There's a system that educates people. So whether you like it or not, you had the time. I mean, if you had the time to learn to insult, okay, even if you didn't learn to insult, if you had the time to learn the things that you know right now, even learning that it is difficult to do things, that is time you learned. It's time that you spend in learning those things. But even as we realize that life doesn't begin at 40, you should also understand what is called the law of cybernetics. I attended a conference, leadership conference with Pastor Cholwe, and he took time to explain some of the very outstanding principles regarding the law of cybernetics. And when I got to speak in communities, whether it's in Chawama, Kalingalinga, the first question I asked the people I talked to is, if you had the choice, where would you want to have been born from? I get very strange answers. If I was born Kukablonga, and then I say, but look, people don't transplant seedlings before they germinate. You are planted in Zambia, germinate right there. You are planted in Mtendere, in Kalingalinga, in Kalikiliki, germinate there. Then you be transplanted and be put somewhere else, because there is surety that you can grow because you germinated. And what defines life is the power to germinate, the power to rise. You have to fight. Life is about fighting. Even to sleep, some people fight. Even just to rest, some people fight. You can't afford not to fight. Ladies and gentlemen, life is not very friendly. It's neither good nor bad. It's how we make of it. I mean, because if the economy is bad in Zambia, how is it possible that some people are making 50,000 kwacha every month? How? Okay, if we say school is tough, how did I get some dollars? I will not mention how much. How did I get dollars yesterday? Okay, if school is tough, why are you here even? How did you find the time to come in? There are some guys, if they're writing a test even 2 weeks from now, they will not do anything outside school. I once scared some of the guys that I studied with. We were writing an exam the following day, and the day before I went to do a motivational talk, and I came back and said, even boy was after Lukai. Say, well, I would rather fail academically and pass in life. And most of them, I still got the second best. And the first one only passed with one point. So, I mean, what was the whole instance even? So I still make my life work this side, and I still make my academics work this side. Chipego here said something very important about women. Say they multitask. Do this, do this. You can't afford to do only one thing forever. I mean, you can't do everything, but I'm sure I can do a number of things. You just can't do everything, but you can do a number. You can be at school, harnessing your business this side, trying to do this. Because trying to do things sometimes help you discover what you are really born for. There's a leadership training that we took called the U theory. We said the more you make mistakes, the more likely you are to get the correct answer. Think about that. If you want to start the journey of discovery at the age of 50, and then what if the journey takes 10 years to discover? By the time you discover, you'll have been 60 or 70. But if you start at 20, if it takes 10 years, by the time you're 30, you get it right. And even if you are dying at the age of 33 years, you'd have at least, Jesus Christ only worked for 3 years and 6 months. All the other times he was just building himself. From the onset, at the age of 12, he says, I'm about my father's business. Do you know what business you're about? He says, Socha be, kwacha, kwasila, socha. As long as chikulu kwacha. Life cannot be lived as chikulu kwacha. Because, let me tell you something very important as I conclude, because conclude I must. We are accountable even for other people's lives, the people that we don't even know. Some people are linked to you becoming what you are born to be. Remember, at some point Jesus was about to be pushed over a cliff. But the Bible just mentions that they didn't manage and they just walked through them because he had not yet done what he was born to do. Judas Iscariot still died in a way that God didn't want to. What keeps you from doing what you are born to do? And I know some of you tell me the background. No, you say, Okosa. I'll tell you that we can't judge you based on your background. But if you decide to remain the same for the rest of your life, then we will blame you. Because now you are conscious. You can decide to do what you want to do. Decide to do what makes you passionate about life. Look, career and professional are two different things. You may be a professional in this thing, but you're not fulfilling your purpose. You can turn your career into a profession, but you can't turn a profession into a career. So some of the things that frustrate people is, nifuna nkangale doctor because nilinawa auntie niwa doctor idoba for 15 million. That's a less way of looking at life. But you can be passionate about people and then decide to do medicine and work in a hospital and fulfilling your purpose and yet getting paid out of it. One of my mentors, Mr. Felix Banda, was telling me that there is money in Zambia. I was like, there is money in Zambia. He says, look, I got to speak to a corporate event for only 15 minutes and they pay me 45,000 kwacha. 15 minutes. And I was like, what? 15 minutes? And then as I kept on advancing, there's an organization that hired me to do motivational talks in schools. And I was only to speak for 10 minutes. Well, because the manager, I knew her from a distance. I said, okay, just give me 150, I'll be okay. 10 minutes. If I've spoken for more than 10 minutes here, I would have already made more than 150 kwacha just for speaking here. And then after that, I go back to school, I go to class, I learn. I write notes, then, my guys, let's go and grab a pizza here. We go and get a pizza, I pay. Oh, basically, but where are you getting the money? Life doesn't begin at 40. Don't seek to live when you age. Life is already happening right now. It's not a rehearsal like Jefferson would emphasize. But it's happening right now. Every moment.